All right, a very big welcome to you, my awesome viewers and subscribers from all over the world. This is another episode of The Truth with Ben Jokes, your trusted platform for political analysis. Now, two spokespersons of this regime, Bayo Onanuga and Sunday Dare, within the last 4 days, have in separate statements made it clear that the prices of goods and services are not going to ever get back to what they used to be before this regime came in. Bayo Onanuga said this indirectly. He said Nigerians should begin farming to augment their income to survive. But Sunday Dare said his own directly. He said prices will never get back to what they were before Tinubu came into office. In other words, the economy is gone. But it is not only the economy that is gone under Tinubu, so many other things, including democracy itself. And that takes me to the top stories. To put a final nail on the coffin of the economy, this administration is going for 6 World Bank loans. Yet, you heard me right. Not 1, not 2, not 3. 6 World Bank loans at the same time. And just as Nigerians were yet reacting to that brutal update against democracy in Nigeria began making the rounds. Now, we all know that impeached Lagos State Assembly Speaker, Honorable OBASA, is Tinubu's boy. About a week ago, the DSS invaded the Lagos Assembly for reasons best known to them. They came out to explain that it was somebody that called them to come in to save a situation. We said, okay, no problem. But today, the worst happened. Impeached lawmaker OBASA invaded the Lagos State Assembly with armed DSS and policemen, very many of them. And he took over the assembly and announced that he had reinstated himself as speaker. So Tinubu's boy OBASA, with his own hands, overturned his own impeachment and now wants to begin parading himself as the speaker of the Lagos State Assembly. Before I show you details of these top stories and how Nigerians reacted, let me quickly show you this video. In this disgraceful video, Tinubu's special advisor on the economy, Tope Fasua, was asked to face reality on the Nigerian economy and tell us how much longer it will take for the hardship to reduce. But he began saying rubbish, attacking Nigerians. He even began discussing Mark Angel's loss. He said people have money and they are pretending as if there is no money. All these because he had no projection to make about the economy. See the video.
Let me take you on some reality check, Dr. Fasua. And I think that it is also fundamental, as much as I try on this program to break down the issues in such a way that we touch on what is practical and reality rather than talking on the technical jargons. The president came into power and he knocked on the very foundation of our economy. He made some policy decisions that went to the very root of the system. And there are those who will say the needs of a human, they are basic. When you are able to deal with those needs, perhaps in order of priority, you'll be able to get yourself going. So people will talk about transportation. People will talk about food prices. People will talk about cost of living, cost of prices of commodities. These things were badly impacted. So the low-hanging fruit are what people are asking for. The average person, which are in the majority, if they are not feeling it in the immediate, how longer should they wait, Dr. Fasua? For those who are listening to you tonight, to say, yes, this policy, this figure, just for a moment, okay. These figures are showing that things are getting in the positive, but the average person is perhaps not feeling it just yet. Therefore, how much longer should they wait?
Therefore, nobody is asking anybody to, look, I mean, get me very, very correctly, and I didn't come to say, go and tighten your belt, wait for Godot and all of that, you know. And what I've said very clearly here is that the opportunities are there. Open your eyes and stay positioned. Look, if somebody makes themselves unemployable, they're going to have issues. But if you avail yourself, okay, I mean, there are even if you was training, there are free training all over the internet that people use. So either you are using the time to abuse the government and abuse the big men or wherever they are on the internet, or you are taking a training to reposition yourself for better employment, you know. So times have changed, you know. So nobody is saying that the people should continue to suffer. No, I'm saying that already, and mind you, of course, this is in the realm of cognitive dissonance, people will usually say when they are suffering. But when people get advantage, you won't hear anything. In this same country, somebody lost $3-point-something billion, $1 million, which was equivalent of 6 billion naira. And he lost it, a comedian or something, lost the money on FX gamble. Indeed, that's what I call it. People do FX trading and all of that. And that's 6 billion. And you would have known that someone in that realm had 6 billion. And of course, he still has some more money today. And how many people are sitting on such kind of money? So we're not saying that people should continue to suffer. We're saying that already the economy is ticking up. Look, 3.46, 3.84. Likelihood of we're going to get into 4-5% growth rate in the next quarter or two. We're going to probably, when we're looking at the rebasing that we're talking about, is about looking at where the economy really is now. People want to disparage it. You can't disparage it because...
You heard that. This is another member of Tinubu's cabinet making it abundantly clear that things will not get better. Bayo Ononuga said we should go into farming. Now, Tokpe Faswa is also here telling us to begin, taking online courses so that we can apply for big jobs because things will never get better. What a shame. A country that is blessed as Nigeria, citizens are now being told by government officials to resort to self-help. Even in the area of insecurity, communities are being told to take up arms and defend themselves. And this man in that interview, that man, Tokpe Faswa, used to be a critic of government. He even contested for the office of the president once. Today, he's special advisor to Tinubu on the economy, and he's saying that all is now well because he is now eating from the government. That is why some say Nigeria is a jungle, because it is a case of everyone trying to survive. So this regime has moved from saying things will eventually get better when their policies mature to saying go and do it yourself, Nigerians. What a disaster. Now, let us look at the top stories. First is that update on Tinubu going for another loan, not one, not two, but 6 World Bank loans concurrently, when a huge part of our revenue is already going into debt servicing. And just as Nigerians were yet reacting to that massive update from Lagos State Assembly began making the rounds. Impeached Speaker Honorable OBASA stormed the State Assembly with fully armed DSS and police and announced that he had reinstated himself as the Speaker of the Lagos Assembly. What a disgrace to democracy. Let's start by taking that update on the 6 World Bank loans. Look at how the papers reported it. Tinubu government planning to secure 6 World Bank loans totaling $2.23 billion for Nigeria, Sahara reporters. Nigeria's reliance on external loans continues as the government under Bola Tinubu plans to secure 6 new loans totaling $2.23 billion from the World Bank in 2025. According to data from the World Bank's official website, with these new borrowings, Nigeria's total approved loans from the institution will reach $9.25 billion over 3 years. An examination of Nigeria's loan approvals for the World Bank since 2023 indicates a significant rise in the funding commitments. According to Punch, in 2023, the World Bank approved $2.7 billion in loans for Nigeria, with the funds primarily allocated to projects in renewable energy, women's empowerment, education, and power sector. By 2024, Nigeria's borrowing from the World Bank increased further, with a total of $4.32 billion approved for various projects. While Nigeria continues to take on more debt, the cost of servicing existing loans remains a significant burden on the economy. According to data from government's Open Treasury portal, Nigeria spent $8.1 trillion on debt servicing in 2024 alone. The combined $8.046 trillion spent on both internal and external debt servicing in 2024 dwarfed allocations to key sectors, highlighting the strain on government finances. For example, compared to the massive debt servicing expenditure, only $74.3 billion was allocated for the construction of electricity infrastructure under the State House headquarters budget. Spending on water facilities was just $31.8 billion. Investments in hospitals and healthcare centers totaled 40.2 billion. Public school rehabilitation received a mere 13.4 billion. Road repairs and rehabilitation were allocated 384.485 billion, still far below what was spent on debt servicing. With the new loans set to increase the Nigeria's total borrowing from the World Bank to $9.25 billion in just 3 years, the government faces growing pressure to ensure these funds are effectively utilized to drive economic growth and development rather than adding to the country's already high debt burden. You heard that. $9.25 billion loan taken from the World Bank alone in the past 3 years. And the people are not feeling anything. Now, in the last 5 years under the APC, Nigeria has spent 24 trillion naira on debt servicing. 24 trillion, look at it there. But these men keep taking loans. And at this point, there is no argument about what happens to these loans. The monies are being embezzled. Everybody knows that. But one question Nigerians would want to ask is, why take a loan to embezzle? Why not stick to embezzling the crude oil money alone? And the answer to that question is, one, the crude oil money is no longer sufficient because there are too many that are embezzling this money. Two, they can no longer wait for crude oil sales. They want something that will come in bulk immediately for them to blow. My God. Billions of dollars of loans being taken for children yet unborn to pay. This country is in trouble. $9.25 billion. Convert that to naira and see how many years budget it is. Somebody will just take it and he will not account for it. What a shame. And Pharaoh here says Tinubu takes about 6 loans and still tasking Nigerians higher. I never believed I would witness the person worse than Buhari, but here we are. And this tweet here says, by the end of his 8 years, there will be nothing left to call Nigeria. That is why Nigerians must ensure that they don't get a second term. And just as Nigerians were yet reacting to that massive update from the Lagos State Assembly began making the rounds. Look at how the papers reported it. First of all, it was reported that OBASA stormed the Lagos State Assembly with armed DSS and police. Look at it. Breaking. Impeached Speaker OBASA invaded Lagos Assembly with heavy security protection, Sahara reporters. And just minutes after that, this one came in. I have reinstated myself as Lagos Assembly Speaker. OBASA. Mudashiru OBASA announced on Thursday that he has once again assumed the position of Speaker of the Lagos State House of Assembly. Mr. OBASA announced after returning to the parliament for the first time since he was removed on January 13. I have resumed and I remain the Speaker of the Assembly, Mr. OBASA said after storming the parliament with police and state security service detail. It was unclear how the politician arrived at the decision. He was impeached on January 13 by an overwhelming majority of Lagos lawmakers. He was replaced with Mojisola Lasbat Miranda, who became the first female Speaker of the Lagos Assembly. Although Ms. Miranda has been unable to assume full control of the parliament for several weeks, no fresh leadership election was held to reinstate Mr. OBASA as Speaker. He filed a lawsuit against his removal, but the courts have not decided on the controversy. The development marks the latest escalation in the political crisis that has engulfed the Lagos Assembly for several weeks. It is an unusual turn in a state known for its unique ability to have all politicians move in political lockstep. Ms. Miranda could not be reached for comments Thursday afternoon. Now, OBASA himself filed a petition to the court based on his removal. But it seems as if he looked and said, why am I even petitioning a court when I have the police and the DSS at my disposal, being a Tinubu boy? And then he decided to storm the place, to storm the Lagos Assembly with men armed to the teeth and declare himself reinstated as the Speaker of the Lagos Assembly. And look at how Nigerians reacted. Let's take some of the tweet reactions. This tweet here by Evo says, "This is the Lagos they parade as a symbol of democracy. It has always been one-man show. I had wondered the place of the governor in all this. Maybe his hands are tied. Of course his hands are tied. And this tweet here by Aremo says, if Tinubu is allowed to use 8 years in Aso Rock, let's forget about democracy. He will make sure he destroys it. See what Tinubu is doing in Lagos when OBASA himself has taken the case to the court of jurisdiction, which they haven't started hearing. Firstly, the IG must be impeached. Well, any IG could have done what OBASA wanted because of where the other is coming from. And Similolu here says, criminals in power, they have really gone mad. Is this how Bat runs a lawless country? So when Peter Obi wins down, he will reinstate himself as president again? Mad people everywhere. A country without laws. And Ulama here says, thuggery all the way. That is what APC is known for. Can you imagine what he said? I have reinstated myself. That is resorting to self-help, which should not be in a country governed by the rules of law. Sadly, this is the APC. I don't expect anything less. Lagos Massage here says, we seriously need electoral reform in this country as soon as possible. That is it. Nigerians need to begin to, because everything is crumbling before our very eyes. And Ayodeji Kayode here says, really, there is absolutely more than the eye can see. Of course, we know what is happening. How was OBASA able to get police and SSS armed to the teeth to help him storm into the Lagos Assembly? Who controls the police? Who controls the SSS? Of course, it's the Commander-in-Chief of Armed Forces. And Thunderstorm here says, self-reinstatement, democracy to the mud. That is it. They have thrown democracy to the mud. Now, in a way, I am happy all these are happening. Even under a military regime, things couldn't have been worse than this. So let it happen so that Nigerians, so that we will know where we are. And this display by OBASA is the character of the average individual in Tinubu's cabinet. The Agbero approach to everything. And it was only an easier option for him to just use police and the SSS. But I'm telling you, if the police and the SSS were not available, OBASA would have used thugs to invade that Lagos Assembly. He and the thugs will even be smoking Igbo in broad daylight and be walking into the assembly shouting. I'm telling you, that is how these men are. They are not honorable at all. A man was impeached and he himself filed a petition to the court that he was wrongly impeached. Even if you wanted to manipulate the process, why not have some dignity and do it through the courts? Go and bribe the judges as usual. Let them declare judgment in his favor. But of course, that will be too organized. That appears too honorable. It gives the verisimilitude of democracy, so they had to do it the Agbero way. What a shame. And the rest of Nigeria is watching. At this point, I'm beginning to wonder, some of all these elders, these big men who held this country politically before they laid back for the likes of Tinubu to take over, aren't they watching all these things going on? Are they just going to watch the APC take this country, drag this country to the abyss in this manner? Well, we will have to keep our fingers crossed and see if it is Nigeria that will see the end of the APC, or the APC will see the end of Nigeria, because we have come to a point where one of those two realities must materialize. Anyway, make I leave am here. Make I still enter town. Make I go get some ogbonge political news wey una go like. Why? Because na because of una. Na I dey here, so don't go away.